Engineering consultant, Francis. Thank you. Okay. Next. Yes, I see a hand.
Me.
Yes, Linda.
Hi there, Linda Bevilacqua. I'm speaking on behalf of Jan. She couldn't make it tonight, so she asked if somebody
Jan.
could read the letter, so I'll read the letter.
All right.
Well, okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, read village water. As you know, the village municipal water supply is pumped from the sand and gravel aquifer that underlies the Aliout Creek. The wells are located right near the creek. At the time when the 2006 Town of Franklin Comprehensive Plan was written, the village was using water from Bissell Springs along with a well that had been in service since the 1960s. The comprehensive plan shows Bissell Springs as our PWSD. The comprehensive plan also recommended to have a source water assessment to delineate overlay zones to protect our drinking water. The Town of Franklin zoning shows a 500-foot radius protection zone for the wells and springs for the village of Franklin and the hamlet of Treadwell. The overlay zones, as I have read it, consist of an inner zone and an outer zone. Within each zone, water is tested to identify what contaminants may be in the water and what the source of those contaminants may be, as well as look at potential contamination sources within the zones. The currently zoned 500-foot radius around the well sites defines the inner zone. The village is currently waiting for Steve Winkley of New York Rural Water Association to complete the overlay zone assessment. Last month, the TV informed the public that neither springs for the village and for the hamlet can be considered for use as an alternative source of drinking water. I don't believe that this should be confused with the daily influence that Bissell Springs has to the Aliout aquifer, and what the assessment might reveal as to potential contamination sources from that spring water, especially if the pipelines and compressor station locations are allowed near the springs. As the comprehensive plan has compelled us to do, create overlay zones to protect our drinking water, I fear this will not be in place in time for the DEC's consideration for Constitution's Water Quality Certificate. It would only be fair to have the overlay zones in place first, before this decision is made by the DEC. I cannot help what wasn't done, what should have been done, when the 2 new wells for the village water supplies were put in service in 2008. In February, the village did write the DEC regarding Bissell Springs as a reserve municipal supply of water and its relationship to the siting of the Constitution pipeline, but it did not have the overlay zones in place to use as a guide to interpret whether the pipeline path would negatively influence our drinking water. Recently, Constitution stated that they would use a trenching method to make their water crossings. I am not exactly sure what that entails, but it still can't be good for the 15 crossings of springs and tributaries of the end of the creek itself. I believe that because of this new announcement of the trenching method, we should be given more time for assessment and comments to FERC and the DEC. With the next pipeline project coming, all of this will only be magnified. The Aliout watershed still needs protection. It needs protection that only the TV can provide, what the comprehensive plan compels. Please notify Acting Director Mark Gertzman of the DEC to deny the water quality certificate for the Constitution pipeline as the plan is written. Trenching through as opposed to boring underneath water crossings poses potential harms to our watershed that we all have not had the time to scrutinize nor comment on. Thank you for the privilege of the floor. Jan Morrow.
Thank you, Linda. No, the 500-foot buffer zone around the wells, is that what, is basically what it is?
Yeah,
It said the
radius
springs, but
protection.
that was before springs, when the springs were usable, I believe.
I think that's her writing.
I'm not sure. When did the springs, Ralph, when did the springs become non-usable for the hamlet, the Treadwell?
Oh, I'm sorry.
How long did the springs, how long ago were the springs not allowed to be used for the hamlet?
Oh,
Do you have any?
Rock Creek must be, let's see now. I got out of it in 2003. And I told them when they took it over to be careful, because don't let the state know, you know.
So you were using the springs still at that time?
Anyway, so I would say, well, by 2005.
So you're using the springs in 2003 then? Still.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why the
Well, we was
comprehensive
using the
plan,
springs when I,
Right.
yeah.
but that's why they were listed in the comprehensive plan and the village springs too, to have the 500-foot.
And the reason why they shut it down because they said the water was too warm. Well, there again, when you take a water sample, you gotta send it right in.
Right, right,
Cold and send it right in,
Yeah.
don't let it get warm.
right, right,
It didn't happen, so anyway,
okay.
the springs have been kicked out and it's a shame too.
Yes, it is, I agree.
Yeah,
The village did have their
it is a shame.
springs a little bit longer than
Yeah,
Prince, like a
right.
year or two. They were able to use longer.
Okay. So I would be in favor of, that 500-foot buffer around the wells, because that's the only thing that municipalities can use. But the springs are not viable as a water source. Somebody said that they should use it out of the river, out of the alley out, rather than off the hill. For temporary water. I don't know.
Well, you've always had good water there, but
There's been good water all over. I agree. Springs are better than wells, but.
the springs up there now just run right down the dip. So,
Mhm.
it's a shame, but.
Okay. Next. Yes.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm Katrina Worden, and I'm here tonight because I think I need to make you guys aware, being the town board, that I've had 2 bad year experiences with the assessment process for Franklin. And I wanted to let you know that I did do some follow-up, and I did contact the Attorney General's office because the law was not followed, and because they did not follow the law, it denied me the opportunity to do a small claims court regarding the assessment process.
Now, what part of the assessment process failed?
Well, there was 2 parts over a 2-year period,
Okay.
okay? And I've spoken to 2 of the individuals, and one of the, they said, well, you can do it again next year. So I did it the next year. I contacted Albany, went through, did all the paperwork with a professional who's doing it through the state in order to do the form, to make sure it was right, because the first year, there was some communication discrepancies about how it was handled. And he's aware of that. And then, so I came prepared for this year for the grievance process. And during the grievance process, I was feeling pretty good because I had most of my ducks right in a row and stuff like that. But what my issue is that I received the notification on the 3rd of August. My understanding in speaking to the Attorney General's office and the Southern Tier District Office is that that should have come out within 2 weeks to give me time to go ahead and put it through small claims to say that I was appealing the decision. That was not afforded to me. And so you guys need to be aware that this is what's going on. So it wasn't a one-time thing, here's a second time. And to put it off for another year, I'm really not happy about this.
Right.
I have other things to do with my time.
Okay,
So
so
something's not happening right in the
so we
personnel
have,
training.
so what you're saying is we have issues with our assessor, or with the zoning board, or the review board?
The whole
The process?
process, from providing information to individuals to.
They wouldn't give you any information on how
There
to
was-
file?
There was a miscommunication, and their expertise in the area should have afforded that. And that individual did disclose that he didn't look at the form when he did the stipulation the first year. Okay? So we couldn't go to grievance for that first year because he went ahead and did the stipulation without doing it. And I discussed that at the meeting with the grievance board also. And he also, yeah. And then there was a second part to it. But I'm very frustrated with the system. And because, they did not follow the law, they have to be accountable. And that's what got me to this point. So you guys need to know that they didn't do what they needed to do, and I'm coming forward with that so that you know.
It wasn't done in a timely fashion, not a timely enough fashion, or
They
the
did
time
not-
frame that is allowed.
The law allows, yes.
Okay. we'll have to get hold of the review board and see if there's some issues that we can correct. Okay? Kitty? Okay, next. Mike, you already spoke once, so I want to give it to one. Well, it's still once in the open meeting, I'm sorry. Okay, somebody else? Unless we have time and want to afford you another time, it's after. Well, this, you know, if there's no other questions,
Okay.
Donnie.
Yep, I'll take a turn. Thank you, Don Hubbard. Basically, I have some comments and some follow-up questions for, from previous board meetings. And I personally feel that the board has been using nothing worse than maybe stalling techniques to slow
I
down.
mean,
any
been
kind of
doing nothing,
action
you
on
mean?
Road use. Or,
Been doing nothing?
no, you stalling tactics
Oh.
on road use. Because at the February 2015 board meeting, I gave you a sample of a road use ordinance we reviewed, specifically defined the criteria for high-intensity road use projects. It explained exemptions for farming, gravel mining, timber harvesting, residential construction, and baseline traffic. Very similar to what Delta had talked about. It was in a road use ordinance. At the Maytown board meeting, I requested that the board contract with Delta Engineering. Delta had already given one presentation prior to this that I sat through. So, in May, I asked if they would consider contracting with Delta. Delta does have the expertise, and they have provided road use ordinance and road use agreements for other towns within our county. At the February board meeting, and again at the March board meeting, I asked the board to adopt a resolution opposing a compressor station, just a resolution exposing it. In April, the town board did. You passed a conditional resolution opposing a compressor station, and that condition was pending investigation of the health issues related to the emissions, and additional studies and data have been presented to the board, as well as you had time to do your own personal research. At the June 2015 town board meeting, Compressor Free Franklin presented 531 adult resident signatures and 69 student signatures. Two of the provisions of this petition were, number one, adopt a resolution of unconditional opposition to compressor station construction, and number two, pass a road use ordinance. I personally approached 48 individuals to sign that petition that was presented. 45 taxpayers signed it, which is approximately 94% rate. 3 individuals refused. One has a business and didn't want to be on record as it being for or against something that was pretty much unsettled. Thought it would affect his business. The other 2 were in favor of compressor stations, in favor of pipelines, and in favor of fracking. Their reasons: natural gas would create jobs. It would provide cheap natural gas for the village of Franklin. I asked both of these individuals, please, come to a town board meeting. Unless I wasn't here, I have never seen anybody stand up and say, I want a compressor station. I've heard people say privately that I'd like gas for Franklin, that I've talked to them, but I've never had anybody in here stand up that, from the, the voting public. Anyway, I don't really see natural gas coming to the village of Franklin, so the businesses or to the school. The pipeline's going to go through here, it's going to pass it on through for export. And other than Amphenol, there's going to be very little gas burnt locally that comes from that pipeline, let alone other towns along 124 miles. Tonight, I'm here to present you with an additional 188 signed petitions by voters. And that gives us a total of 719 residents and landowners. We also have the 65 used from before. In addition, we have another 76 from people that are concerned from neighboring towns. As you heard mentioned tonight, Otsego is going to benefit from this compressor station by getting emissions. I don't think they want that benefit. So we have 76 people that are concerned residents of neighboring towns that aren't voters, but they still are concerned.
Do they want the compressor station? We can let Otsego have it.
What's that?
Do they want the compressor station? We can let
No, they
Otsego
don't
have
want the
it.
emissions.
Oh, but they take their money.
I didn't ask that.
Oh, I didn't ask that.
We'll
Okay.
have to talk money later.
Okay.
Anyway, has the town board received a petition requesting the construction of a compressor station. Has anybody given you a petition that wants
No.
one? Has anyone given you a petition opposing a road use ordinance?
No,
Okay.
I don't believe it.
So currently, we're running about 719 in favor of a road use ordinance and 0 against, and 790 that would not
Well,
want a
if I'm
compressor
not
station,
mistaken,
and 0 against.
I have said over the last,
Mhm.
probably since January or
Oh,
February, you're
against.
talking. Pardon?
Are you one against?
Against what?
A road
I'm
use
against being
ordinance?
harassed or
Yeah.
whatever, but, no, it has been brought up at the meetings that the town is looking at a road use ordinance. We have hired an attorney to work with it and talk with Constitution.
Mhm.
But if nobody returns, I talked to her on Monday, and I talked to her today, the attorney. She said 3 weeks ago was her last response to Constitution, they were gonna get back to her. They hadn't got back to her yet. And there's not a town in this state, I don't believe, that has got a signed road use agreement with Constitution.
We haven't
In
asked,
this state.
Jeff, we have never asked for a road use agreement. I personally haven't, I don't think Compressor Free Franklin has. We want a road use ordinance, a law. You do not need anybody else to pass a law. You guys have the power. You can pass a
We
law.
do, we can pass a road
Yes, you
use
can.
agreement too.
You
Yes, we
probably-
can.
Yes, you can.
Yes, we
So
can.
why haven't we done anything since, like, back February, I gave you a sample, because we already discussed it, Delta had been here. We're talking.
Delta
now we're in
was not
August.
here until May, I believe, Donnie, was
Delta
the first presentation. I don't think Delta presented here before June.
But they did present to you.
They presented to you.
At the
At the
county,
town board.
yes.
I was at the county,
That's right.
I was in Delhi when they presented.
Yep,
You know, you've been aware of it.
I have been aware of it, you're right.
Yeah, yeah.
You're
And
right.
so even knowing that basically a road use ordinance could protect the town of Franklin's roads from excessive traffic, not normal, excessive. And yet now we're in August, approaching September, we might have construction. I've heard trees could be cut in September, and we still don't, Jeff. That's what concerns me.
You're right, we
That's
still
what
don't,
concerns me.
you're right, Donnie.
And so.
Because I
have to
have
say
been
that.
going on the legal advice of our town attorney.
You might need a better attorney, a
That's
different attorney. I'm
Oh.
just saying
It's
that's-
got
Well,
a
every-
better attorney.
Every attorney has its own opinion. This, the town decided on this lawyer firm because she has experience with municipalities, experience with gas companies, and she has said she has not given up on the thought of a road use ordinance. She's think, or law, not law, ordinance law, I guess there's no difference. But she said this is a different animal, this Constitution pipeline, because all the other pipelines she's dealt with, compressor stations she's dealt with, have been very outgoing, very forward-going. So this is, it's got her concern up about this, and that she wants to talk to Delta firsthand, which is gonna happen Friday. We have not been ignoring this.
How long has she been your lawyer? I thought it was a couple months ago.
March.
Yeah, the one lawyer left and another lawyer was announced. That was like 2 or 3 months ago. wasn't it?
Well, it was more than that, it was like March,
Okay.
April,
So.
and she's been
I'm
working
sorry,
at
Jeff, How long
getting
does
it.
she need? And it's
I'm not sure.
it's Franklin needs protecting. So,
Okay.
it frustrates me. So
Yep,
anyway,
good.
I'm gonna sing the same song again.
Yep.
I would like to come forward, I respectfully request that you sign an agreement with Delta. I respectfully request that you pass a road use ordinance with specific monetary bonds or penalties to provide assurance that our roads will be prepared. The road use would be signed by any major developers, such as the 2 that are coming our way, and it must include provisions for payment of Delta engineering fees. If we're gonna have a road use agreement, then let's take and have that agreement paid for by the people that are causing the problems, not the town of Franklin. I mean, I've heard you guys say, well, let's not worry about the 9,000, we'll have Delhi do some work, we'll get it down to 6,400, that's wonderful, that's wonderful. Let's get somebody that's causing this to pay the 6,400, instead of us. And I really still see there's no reason why a resolution to unconditionally be opposed to a compressor station. All it would do, it would put the pipeline companies on notice that Franklin doesn't want one, if they haven't heard it already. The fact that FERC can override what we do locally, that's not a good excuse for not having an ordinance that says we just don't want one in Franklin. And you guys have the power to do that. And I think that's about all I have to say, and I will drop these off and the petitions off. I do thank you
Thank you.
for your, the opportunity to present.
Yes.
Yes, thank you for letting me, I'm Lori Walter, I'm the Treadwell, Town of Franklin, Village of Treadwell. I just want to say that I am for the compressor station and for the pipeline. I'm one of the 1,300 that haven't signed your petition. So I'm speaking now for a taxpayer that actually pays taxes in the town of Franklin. I want the compressor station, period.
Thank you.
And thank you for all your hard work and all the stuff that you put up with, because it's been spot on.
Are you willing to share why?
Now, wait,
for
you're
it?
supposed, no,
I was-
this is to us, not between the people, please. Okay? Yes, Jason.
Jason Starr. Glad to hear you say you're a figures person, because I got some here. The New York State Department of Transportation, the cost to repair damaged pavement on local roads varies from $70,000 to $150,000 per lane mile for low-level maintenance, such as a single course overlay, up to $500,000 to $1.9 million per lane mile for full-depth reconstruction. So that's there, and I'm gonna hand this to you, I just have the one
Yeah.
copy.
Okay.
But I think when we're talking about, costs, these are good numbers to know. And the road use ordinance and air quality ordinance, as Gene was mentioning, those are insurance policies for the town. That's the way I see it. You don't have to pass it because something is happening, or you know what's gonna happen. We all have car insurance or health insurance for things that might happen, and in case they do, we wanna be prepared. I think we would all agree with that. Do we all agree with that? Maybe on insurance? Yes. Yeah, so, along with that, I didn't make that last town board meeting, but I was able to watch it on, on the internet, which was cool, and, because I was happy to see, Jeff, yourself highlighted the need to do baseline testing due to insufficient data from other studies, and the Delta Engineering seems to be a great way to go for the baseline testing of our roads. And I also asked that you hire them. I asked the board to decide, I asked the board to come up with questions for this meeting Jeff's gonna have, attend the meeting, or decide that you're gonna hire them anyway, and save ourselves the
Well, we
lawyers.
can only have two members at a meeting with a lawyer.
All right,
That's
well,
just
even
a legal
before-
factor.
What I ask is that perhaps
Right.
even tonight, I bet if you'd said that you were gonna vote on it tonight and forget the lawyer, we'd all stick around, but anyway.
It won't be voted on tonight, but I would, if everything goes well on Friday, and that's that two-letter word, if,
Yeah,
we will call a special meeting before the next town board meeting.
excellent, thank you.
If it is agreed upon and everything, that, it is a way to go, just so we can get it implemented sooner than later.
Excellent.
Okay, that's, we're willing to, at least I am, and I'm sure the board is willing to, have another meeting to that effect, so it gets, but we're trying to cover our bases, that's what we're doing, Jason.
Please,
Yep,
yeah,
keep going. Go
and we
ahead.
see that. We know that you're working, and, but a lot of people out here are working too with the research, and we're trying to,
Yeah.
protect, because everyone in the town, whether they voted for you or not, or wherever they feel, they all want to drive on nice roads. We all want to breathe
As good as
clean
what
air.
we got, you're right.
Another thing I wanted to address was this idea about gas coming to Franklin. It seems to be a complete myth. It's a nice idea, and sure, I think, nobody's against inexpensive energy or helping the heating costs. But there's no agreement with Franklin. I believe the leather stocking company only has agreements with Delhi and Sydney.
It doesn't have anything to do with it.
No,
doesn't
there's
have
nothing
anything
with
to
this.
do with it. Not even-
It's a franchise agreement.
Okay, it's a franchise agreement. So those are the only two towns I know of, but does anybody know of Franklin? Have they approached you? Have you had any
They had
discussions?
we had the meeting, the
Just that.
presentation, that's all. I've called Maravitos, or Bill, I think it was, or Joe, whichever the one it is, that's head of this leather stocking, or involved with leather stocking, not head of it.
Okay.
And he said, at that time, they were trying to get it okayed in Windsor,
Right.
and this was like 4 months ago. It's
Yeah.
quite a while ago. It's, whether they've got the valve associated for Franklin or not, I don't know about that, because that's my big, get the Constitution, put the valve in place, so at least if it does ever happen, it's there, you don't have to shut the pipeline down to tap in, or, and somebody said they don't have to, they can just tap into it with it running, I don't know.
Right, but as of now, I just want it to be clear for anybody who's watching this later, I believe, as of now, there is no plans for Franklin to get any benefit.
Not much, not to my knowledge,
There's
I know
nothing,
they did
okay.
the presentation to the village,
So-
they did it to the town,
Yeah,
and, it's more of a, I don't know what the old saying is, and, we'll go from there.
yeah, all right, well, I just want to be clear on that, so that is on the record. And on the baseline testing, I saw, we've talked about Hancock, and thank you again for going to those, the station there, but they did a methane baseline test.
Right.
You're aware of that?
I haven't got the results.
All right, well,
Okay.
I'll hand it in here to you.
Okay.
They hired a company, Gas Safety Incorporated, insurance. They've got the compressor station, they're trying to protect themselves. And that's what, as Don alluded to, you guys there have the power. You have the power vested in you by us, from us to do what's best for the town, to protect us. That's what we want you to do. And, I decided earlier that, you've gotten a lot of information and facts. I'm not gonna spew out a lot of facts, but what I want to inspire you all to do is have the courage to use your power. You've done a little bit, I almost, in my last speech, I said, I was gonna say you did nothing, but I scratched that out, because you have done stuff. You've done stuff, you're doing a lot of work, you're continuing to do it. But now use the legislative power that you have. You have your researchers, all right here. You've got the information, and you've done your own information. You have the instructions of what to do from the petition, the people who signed the petition. Please do this, enact these laws. Now, you have the power. Use it, please. Everyone wants you to, everyone, whether they voted for you or not. I think whether they want the
Compressor-free
compressor-
Franklin wants us to. I
I
don't
think
know how, not everybody wants you to. wants us to.
everybody wants you to protect the town.
Yes, but there's a
Everybody.
difference of opinions on how to
That's right.
protect the town.
That's
And
right.
that's what he's doing.
And, well, they're
And that's
not.
why you guys are measuring.
They have not.
Okay,
Excuse me.
okay, to
But-
us,
but
to me,
yes.
to me.
But you
To
have
me,
not,
please.
I will just say again, I really don't want to raise my voice any louder than I have to. Thank you.
Yes,
But you haven't passed any ordinance yet, air quality, you haven't done that legislative action, excuse me.
Is there someone who can
Okay.
regulate this
Answer
person?
for 3 minutes.
I believe it's true that you have not enacted any legislation
no, we have
to
not.
protect the town. Please do so, everyone wants you to. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Everyone does not.
Brandon.
I'm sick of being, these are hobgoblins that have been made up. You can protect us down to the point that we can't do anything at all. It's dangerous to enact laws too fast.
Thank you.
They'll be on the books forever,
Thank you.
and they'll turn the place into a economic swamp.
Yes, Roger.
I'd like to know, like, every major city in the United States burns natural gas, is this true? Right? How are these people surviving? Are they mutants? I don't understand, because the same emissions that comes out of your cars driven here, comes out of that compressor station. Oneana is feeding Otiga, Otiga's getting Oneana's fumes too, and Oneana's, Stevens is getting it. So to say this is, they don't have a pollution thing there. And the EPA, which is the deity of some in this room, said on June 6th that the anti-fracking things they came up with weren't quite as bad as they said.